Hi guys, welcome to this session on Microsoft Project. In this module I want to have a quick look at how to run visual reports. So in Project you have all these reports that are great, but you've also got this legacy button to visual reports to send data into Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Visio. So before I do that, let's have a quick look at what we have on the screen. This is a very small project. I've already saved a baseline on this project. So baseline, set baseline. Just saved that, so it's got a baseline. Don't want to update that, cancel that off. I've also already updated some tasks, so you can see these tasks have got some completions. These are time phase tasks. I've allocated resources to some of these tasks, and these tasks are all linked together. What I want to do now is send this data into Excel first off, and then Visio, so you can see how it works. So first off, visual reports. You get this box coming up with two ticks at the top for Excel and Visio. If I take the tick off Visio, you'll see there's a lot less. If I put the tick back on Visio and take the tick off Excel, do it the other way around, there's not as many. So if we both ticks on, it looks quite cluttered. Now you can see at the bottom there's one called Work, this one. I've created that report, but I'll show you how to do that in a second. So if I go to Resource Summary and click on this Resource Menu Work Report, I've got the option at the bottom there to change the timeline or the time period, and I can also edit this. If I click on Edit Template, these are the fields that will be available when I run this report, and I can take these off or put some other ones on. I can also add any custom fields that I may have done from this list. I'm not going to do any of that, so I'll just cancel that. And then I'm just going to view this, and this should open up Excel as a pivot table. I'll just make this full screen so you can see this, and I'll just make my screen a little bit smaller so it shows the whole chart. So what you have there is a chart, and then on the next tab along you have the pivot table with all the little tick boxes that you would normally expect on a pivot table. I'm just going to tick actual costs on there, and then when you come back to your chart, the actual cost column should have been added. You can change this graph if you don't like this, which I don't. So if I just go to design at the top there and change chart type, just want it as a normal clustered column, click OK to that, and then you can see this side by side. If you don't want any of these on, so if I take one of these ticks off, it just removes that tick. If I take the cost off, and maybe you've got work there, so actual work, and where's baseline work, and then you can save this as a report and use it on and on as many times as you want. But for now, I'll just close that one down. I'm not going to save it. Don't save it. And then I'm going to select one to run into Visio. So if I go to All and take the tick off Excel, you've got this one, Basic Report or Baseline Report. This is going to drop it into a pivot diagram. Just click in View. Should open up Visio, and then it's a case if you manipulating the diagram in Microsoft Visio. So what you have down this left hand side is the categories and then the totals that you might want to display. So I want to add tasks, so it should add the tasks along the bottom there. So at the moment it's got work and baseline work and cost and baseline cost. If I tick this one, actual, it just adds that actual work column in at the bottom there, so you can just add in extra bits and bobs. If you don't like this, you can delete it off. This is what a pivot diagram is all about. You can just manipulate stuff as you wish. You click on different elements and add these features if you require to see that information. So that's dropping it into Visio, so I'll close that one down, and I'm not going to save it. Now what I would like to do is create my own report, so I'm going to create a new template, and I want an Excel template, and I'll do it on resource usage, and then you get the option here to pick the fields that you want. So I'm going to remove all of those and just add a couple back, because one of the things I always find difficult in project is identifying where the data sits so you can pull the right column through. So I do want actual costs, so I'm just going to double click on that. I want actual work, and I want baseline cost and baseline work. Let's go for that one. So just got 4 fields, clicking OK to that. So OK again, and then it runs it. Now it comes up slightly different because now you have to build the pivot table. So let's just tick some of these on. These are all the summary fields, if you like, and then you've got the options there for resources. So there's a list of resources. Now it's put resources down here, but I could equally put the resources over there. Whichever way you want to look at this, it's up to you. If you don't want resources, you can tick the time, and then you can put the calendar back over here. You can manipulate the values box and put it over that side. So this is the pivot side of pivot tables. Now obviously I've messed this up a little bit, so I'm just going to take a couple of these ticks off to bring it back into a small little box there, because what I want to do is add a pivot chart to this. So if I just get myself a pivot chart, you can see how that works. Straightforward little graph like you saw before. This is just sitting next to this now. I'll just make sure it's not in the way, so I'll just move it across a little bit. So now you have to be slightly careful with this, because if you are ticking things on like resources, that's now banged into the graph a little bit, and you might want to take some of these off. So let's have a look at let's not look at work, let's just look at cost. So then it becomes a little easier to see, and you can filter this off as well if you don't want to look at all of this. If I don't want to look at unsigned, I don't want to look at equipment, so you just take these off. Paper, not interested. Okay, so then that is now just showing the people baseline cost against actual cost, and then I could do the work, put the work on, take the cost off, like that. And then you want to save this. If I save this, what it does, it saves it as a template, an Excel template. I'll call this Steve template, so we can identify it. It's going into the templates folder. Save that. Say yes to that, so it just refreshes the data, and then close that down, and close this down. So let's have a quick recap of that. If I click on Visio Reports, and you've got mine there now, look, sitting there alongside the other one I did, Steve's work. So if I take the tick off Visio, it won't show as much. And then if I go through this, you see on resource usage is the information that I selected my template from. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. If some of these reports aren't actually doing what you want them to do, you can just create your own, and you can have a list of reports there. So that's basically a quick look at the visual reports, how you can create your own, how you can run visual reports into Visio or Excel. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for your time.